Okay, time for a little update on the new Jeep. Got the new plate on, M44 GPW, looks quite nice. Now, steering wheel. This was the initial problem I had when I drove it from London to Liverpool. I couldn't operate the clutch without binding up with the steering wheel. Now, I think you can see now I've pretty much sorted it. My leg still hits the wheel, but it's no way near as bad as it was. I can now drive this fairly well. If I slip the gear over into fourth, I don't have to swing my leg over there now and try and squeeze it up between the wheel, because I've extended the centre boss of the steering wheel by more than 2 inches, I think. You can see that line there is where the original boss finished, and these spokes of the wheel were welded on here, so I've extended it with this pipe. What I'm going to do at some point is I'm going to put a plug in the top of this with a dummy nut welded on the top, so that it looks like the column is coming up all the way through it, so it looks more standard. I may also be able to try and patch that gap up there, even if it just put a piece of spacer, a spacing device inside. Yeah, I was going to try and put a pipe right over this whole section, which would go down a little bit further. That might have been a neater job, but I couldn't find any piping in the right gauge, so in the end I found some piping similar size to that, and then I've welded them and extended it. Anyway, it does its job. Now, next thing I've done is I've started fitting an overdrive in. Hello, Stella. Yeah, I started fitting an overdrive in, and this is the lever for it. I've made the mounting for it at the bottom so that it fitted into the original power takeoff holes provided. Now, this is not connected right at the moment. I have had it connected over the weekend, but I've had some little problems with the fitting of this overdrive. Now, it's I'm told it's one of the units which has come from the Overdrive guy in the USA. I bought it from a guy on the Mahindra Owners Club, and it's come with these instructions, several. It's mainly 2 pages, and then a parts list and a bit of instructions on the use of the overdrive. Now, yeah, they're a bit oily, but they're readable. And there's a couple of videos on YouTube as well. There's one in India, well, 2, maybe the same guy in India, showing you the fitting of an overdrive, but there's no commentary on it. Well, no commentary I can understand. It just seems to be they're doing it and videoing it as they're doing it, you know, no real instruction. Now, and then there's another video on a different make of overdrive. Well, I think it's a different make, it may be the same, it looks extremely similar, but maybe they all look very similar. Now, basically, I've driven this around for I've done a few miles on this overdrive unit. Here is the overdrive, the actual main body of it. Now, in here is the planetary gear section, which is bolted in. Yeah, this little brass part here is called the Synchro Ring, and when you assemble it, that is normally assembled with that unit dropped inside here. Now maybe I can turn this over a little bit. It has got some oil in it at the moment because I've just taken it off. This is the second time I've taken this unit off the transfer box. Now, and let's see, you can see that unit spins in there. Now there's three three dogs, or whatever you would call them, like dog clutch sort of thing, which slide forwards and engage into the three spaces on the Synchro Ring. Now when you assemble this, you've got to make sure that those line up with those three dogs as they are there, and that's how you normally put it on. Now when it comes from the manufacturer, that's normally got some thick grease on it to hold that Synchro Ring in there. This here is the oil scoop. Now it's just slotted in to the housing here. Now I've basically put a screwdriver in this, and then it's being hard to come out now. I've put a screwdriver in this. You can see here I've widened it by twisting a screwdriver in the scoop, and then I've pushed it in there to get a nice tight fit. Now that scoop has to be in there for the oil to circulate, I presume, into here and down, and lubricate the gears at the back of the Overdrive. Now these Overdrives, I've never really had any experience of fitting one before, but I'm finding some problems with this one. I'll just take some of this gasket sealant off. Now in basically you have two positions. That lever which you saw up here, which I've just cobbled this up to operate the Overdrive with, see there, that there. Right, well, you put a pin through there, and that pin links in to a push rod over here. You can see it's got a hole in it and a slot in the end. So that plate that's just there, that arm, fits in there and then has a pin with a cotter pin fitted through to lock it in place. Now, problem I'm having with this is in bypass position, as in when the let's have a think, when that lever is fully back and the push rod on the back of the unit fully in, that's in bypass, so it's driving it as standard. Now when I operate the lever the other way and bring that back, that's supposed to put it into overdrive, and it pushes the push rod backwards and out. Now when I put it in the overdrive position, I just seem to have 3 running and no actual drive to my prop shafts and my transfer box. So I don't know what the problem is. Now when you look on a few videos, there is an important announcement, and also in these instructions it says that point there, the back end of the planetary gear hub, I think you call it, should not be more or less than 0.677 of an inch. Now I did a quick search on the web, and that equates to 17.19 millimeters. So I thought, well, I don't think it was correct when I assembled it. I thought it was way less than that, and that's what was causing my issues. Now today I've been under the car again. I've stripped the unit down again once more, and I've stuck that across there on the planetary gear and measured to the case. And when you look, hang on, something's moved. There we are, that's more like it. When I push that in properly and we look at that there, it's actually saying it's just on 18 millimeters. So that's 0.7 of a millimeter different to what it says on the instructions. Now obviously this isn't a very accurate measuring device, and if you look at the very first point on this this device there, it doesn't look very precise. It doesn't look like it's exactly 1 millimeter at the start there. It looks a little bit more. So I think if I was to put it, say, there, and then subtract the first millimeter off and put it to the casing, I think I'd probably find it a little bit more closer to 17.19. I'll do a little check on that and see if it is or not. Now I've got the wheels on the Jeep jacked off the floor, you can see that. Yeah, when I spin this wheel here that way, yeah, away from me, and that's counterclockwise. The wheel on the other side will spin the opposite direction, clockwise. That's the way differentials work when they're lifted off the floor. And here is the prop shaft. Now if I operate the prop shaft and turn it that way, you'll see the wheel over there is rotating clockwise, isn't it? Yeah, and this one here is rotating the same direction. See the tyres swing around towards forwards. Yeah. So that would be making the car go backwards. If I turn the prop shaft the other way, both wheels turn the other way. Yeah, anyway, that's basic differentials, prop shafts and stuff like that. Now, other thing is, this here on the Jeep is the transfer box. As I said there, this is the prop shaft. This here is a transmission brake. It's basically just like a drum brake that you have on the rear of the Jeep axle to you know, your drum brakes, but it's inside a drum mounted on the back of the transfer box. Now the transfer box transfers the drivetrain from the back of the gearbox here and out sideways through some more gearing to this prop shaft and the front wheel drive prop shaft, which is just here. Now in the transfer box there's a few controls. We can disconnect the front wheel drive axle, prop shaft and axle. We can also change the gearing ratio inside here, so we can go high and low gear ratio inside the transfer box. So that's what that does. You can disconnect your front axle so it just runs in rear wheel drive, and you can change the gearing. That's on top of the 4 gears which are given in the gearbox, so you basically have 8 gears using the transfer box. Now, yeah, so where does that get me? Yeah, so I've taken that measurement, and I'm surprised. I thought there was some sort of error, and I was going to have to take the planetary gear out and put a spacer behind it to push it forward, but it's not the case. So I'm slightly puzzled as to what's wrong in here. Now this is what it looks like inside the overdrive unit, looking at the planetary gears. Now I don't know what'll happen if I do this. Yeah, see, if I rotate this prop shaft here by hand, that's what the planetary gears do inside there, and you can see it all seems to be moving around nice and smoothly. No particular issues in there. So I am slightly stumped as to what's wrong with this overdrive. Something I have noticed, I've looked in here, when I took it out today, if I look at this gear there appears to be a hole running right through the gear there, and another one there. I'm presuming there must be some sort of tubular pin or something which is slid through there, but it sort of surprised me that you could see light. In any case, this can't be the reason why it's free running, because you're never going to be able to run this thing. If that was slipped, I wouldn't be seeing light through there now, would I? It's never going to fall back exactly where it started off. So it must be solid on the shaft. It can't be something that silly. You know what I mean? I've driven it several miles, and if that thing was going to slip, I wouldn't be seeing light through the holes now, would I? So what's the issue I've got here? I don't know. Something peculiar. I'll probably end up reassembling this and trying it again and try and work out what is going wrong. At least the miles I've driven it have not caused any wear issues from what I can see. No mangling up the gears. Nothing's sort of gone wrong. If you look up inside there, you can see how it's held in. There's like a cross shaped locking washer. It's an unusual shape. It's a bit don't know what you'd call it. It's not like an iron cross, but it's like a square, but with the sides of the square are curved inwards, concave, and then it's got this center which is pushed down into towards the shaft of the output of the gearbox. Then to lock that in, it has this sort of square spring washer. You see in there, if I zoom in, there's a spring washer, and at the top in there you'll see there's two little lugs next to two small holes in that spring washer, and that is the point where you pinched it in to get the spring washer out. And you may notice, but it clips into a recess up inside around the edge. Now I've got nothing to poke thin. My finger's too fat to show you. But up in there, at the tip of my nail, there's a recess that this washer swings around in, clips into. Anyway, I'm slightly stumped as to why this thing isn't working. I don't think it's because I am pushing the push rod too far out with my lever arrangement, because I have actually tried it at intermediate positions and it still doesn't seem to work. I think I'll just post this video, see what comments I get from you guys, and we might get an answer.